Hello, hello, all my philosopher pirates out there. Good to see you once again. I've got a very important topic that we're going to talk about today, and that topic is sacrifice. This is a great one for us today. Absolutely. Sacrifice, 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 and even a little bit more sacrifice. It's wild how letting go can feel both impossible and absolutely necessary, right? I mean, I've watched this truth shape just not on my own life, but ripple through the lives of others as well. Now, lately, I did make a choice to let go of something that I've guarded for a very long time and clutching it as fiercely as a pirate gripping treasure he knows deep down doesn't truly belong to him. There's something, as I talked about in the last video, liberating about loosening your grasp. Even when every instinct tells you to hold on tighter. I don't know about that. In that surrender, in that sacrifice, I found a strange kind of freedom and liberation. One that comes from not gaining, but from the courage to release. And the most recent sacrifice I made was, I'll have to be honest with you guys, I had to give up smoking weed. And usually my breaks for that, which I would take breaks, would be about a month. But deep down, I know I need it for much longer, just for now anyway. And I do want to clarify, to each his own. For this one, I'm not saying I'm done for good, which I'm not. But certainly done for a while. And, if something special comes up, maybe, we'll see. I'm kind of putting it in my mind just for special occasions with certain people that I've enjoyed it with before, certain events that might come up, that sort of thing. But for now, for me, just for me, I can tell you that it does hinder my clarity. This is for me, guys. It hinders my clarity. I don't like waking up with foggy brain too much anymore. It can lower my inhibitions. I mean, really just all the normal stuff. Makes me lazier. I think you get it. Although I do very much enjoy it and have loved my time with it, at this point, I just want to take a break. And breaks are great. And my wife and I, we have some big plans coming up. And to be honest with you, I need and want some sober clarity to make sure that I'm ready for those challenges, such as a family, which we're taking very seriously at this point, and it's very exciting. But I need to be making sure that I'm clear for a lot of it. We're going into some different routes when it comes to gaining a family, so I really want to make sure that all my mental faculties are in order. And of course, just a quick caveat. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an avid weed user. I'm not, okay? So all you weed users, just relax. This is just for me. Some of you can handle it great and use it as a great tool or nice and relaxing, whatever it may be. I know tons of people who do it and they're fine. They can go out, sell real estate and, work on financial numbers and do whatever. I'm just not one of those. So I just want to be clear in saying that. And I love weed for so many reasons. It's just for me, I was using it as a crutch too much instead of a tool. And I've just decided that that's one thing that I want to sacrifice for a little while here. And I'm not sure how long, but it'll be a little while. Now, there are so many other stories that I can give you about the great sacrifice and why it's so important. Another good one would be, one time I sacrificed a very safe and easy job that paid the bills and kept my head above water, really just surviving, but, needed to survive at that time in that way. I certainly wasn't thriving. And what I mean by that is when I was acting in LA, I was also a personal trainer, and I had been a trainer even before I moved to LA and was training here and there, just part-time mixed in with my waiting. But that being said, waiting tables helped me get through college. It helped pay for school and allowed me the luxury of incredible quick cash and some great free time. And I think it's highly beneficial for anybody that was in that position in school or even out of school. I waited tables and bartended for years, loved it, and it paid my bills. But it got to a point where I really started to internally suffer with it in here. And I was just really starting to hate it. And of course, nothing wrong with that, as I stated before. And it's helped me in so many ways, it's crazy. But I wanted more freedom and more money, and I wanted to go off into the great unknown like a pirate would. And I wanted to start my own personal training business, and I did. And as scared as I was to leave waiting tables and easy cash every time I worked, I knew I had to go this route. I had the opportunity to be more creative in my pursuit of starting a very small business, which it was. Wanted to connect with more people and train them and honestly just give them the education that I received all throughout my personal training life and just my exercise in general. I wanted to give back my experience, my love, my enthusiasm, my positivity, which, as I'm sure a lot of you know, I can be really positive, even to the point that it's like, okay, relax, dude. But as soon as I took that plunge, as scared as I was, and it felt hollow at the time, not gonna lie, I remember the thoughts of like, oh shit, what the fuck did I just do? You can't do this, man. You're in LA, dude. Everybody's a trainer, and they're great trainers and celebrity trainers, so overly saturated. You're gonna leave this cash job for this? I think you know how it goes. And slick was getting in my head. But I did not let that deter me from what I wanted. And a few days in, after about 2 weeks of being at the restaurant, I put my 2 weeks in. And I want to say after about a few days of starting this training business, and I was letting just my regular clients and just other clients that I knew that were interested, I let them know what was going on. And I got a ton of clients, a ton, who wanted to work with me. And we worked out pricing. I started doing group training as well. Just really, like I said, started getting more creative in the sacrifice. And I was so happy I did that. And then when you force yourself to sacrifice certain things, it even forces you to become more creative. Not in the sense of being more artistic in a way, and in a way that will definitely happen, but it gets you creative in your mind of different strategies, different ways of looking at business. How can I get more clients? I'm gonna need this. I'm not depending on this cash that I was getting from waiting tables so much. I really need to think here, which I did. But the point here is I sacrificed and I was given something back for that. And whatever you think you need to sacrifice in your life, whether that be in your diet, relationship issues, financial, overindulging on screen time, too much news cycles, Instagram, whatever it may be, video games, you get the point here. Whatever it may be, you are the only one who knows that, not me. I don't know what that is for you. But I also want to emphasize, that it's okay to start small here, my fellow pirates. Starting small is great. And starting small, and if you're anything like me, I can often get way too grandiose in my vision of where I want to go and what I want to do. Start small, guys, whatever that means for you. But the way that I like to look at that, and what I'll tell myself when I'm trying to sacrifice something is, okay, what's realistic but still enough of a challenge where I know it'll be hard enough that it's good for me, but not hard enough for me to not pull off. Something like that. I'll tell myself something like that. And I do want to emphasize, as corny as this may sound, and I'm sure you've heard something like this before in a lot of different self-help areas, but the universe, the inner divinity that I believe in, God, whatever it might be, whatever you believe in, you pirate, sacrifices are always paid back in full. May not be on the time frame you want, but the universe will see it and it will give you something back. And that's been my experience, absolutely for sure, and many others as well. So I think that sacrifice is also a huge part of growing up, which I have definitely struggled with. It's been a struggle to enter into adulthood, manhood, really, I should say. But sacrifice has been huge. And I want to say sacrificing upwards. Sacrifice is great. And we need to feel the pain of giving things up that only really provide instant gratification all the time. At least if you're anything like me, that is. I thrive on instant gratification, love these things. And I'll end with this quote I got from a movie called Blackberry. And I'm sure you've probably seen a preview, maybe you've seen it, I'm not sure. But it's a true story about how Blackberry became so huge at the time. And this is about one of the founders in that movie. And he kept repeating this line. And man, it stuck with me. And honestly, I think it always will. And here's the line. The more painful the sacrifice, and the greater you'll be. I love that so much. And I talk a lot about that in my writing as well. He didn't say happiness. Happiness has kept me down in a lot of ways. And I love happiness, of course. And in a lot of ways, we do need to be happy. But I want to start getting some of this vocabulary out of our heads. Happiness. Weed made me happy. Hard drugs way back in the day made me happy. There's a lot of things that can make me happy that are terrible for me, as of course we all know, right? But it says the more painful the sacrifice, the greater I'll be. So I like to keep that in mind when I'm sacrificing certain things in my own life. Sacrificing weed, sacrificing the waiting table, sacrificing a big move when me and my wife decided to get a home so we could get a family and be very stable so that we could make sure we had a nice, stable home for our future children. Huge. And I had to sacrifice a lot for that, and so did she. We both have made major sacrifices, and they are paying off for us. Like I said, it may not be in the instant time frame that I always want, but that being said, remember, sacrifice. And you know what that is. I know what it is for me. You know what it is for you, pirate. You damn well know. And like I said, it doesn't need to be some huge grand gesture or anything like that. What I am saying is sacrifice what you think is holding you back a little bit and start small. Like I said, it could be a million things in your life. Maybe you need to switch up the diet, the relationship. Maybe you're sacrificing your honesty in a who knows what that could be for you. All I'm saying is see what this can do for you. Sacrifice a little bit of your time or peace or whatever it is for something greater, something upwards that in the long run is well worth it, right? Grab onto that. Sacrifice upwards. And I did get that from Jordan B. Peterson, and he certainly deserves a shout out for that because I've heard him talk about it quite extensively. And that just makes sense to me. Whether you like him or not, he does make a lot of sense in a lot of ways, and that's one thing that I took, and it makes a lot of sense. When I sacrifice upwards for something greater in my future and sacrifice the present moment or present things that make me happy instantly, I get paid back in full with interest. So remember that, my pirates, sacrifice. And we'll talk a lot more about that as we go along. Love you guys. Let's have a great week.